Hey everyone, welcome back to Fives a Flock. So today we're going to be doing our very first parrot review. So this is a poicephalous parrot called a Meyer's parrot. His name is Yubi. This is actually my brother's parrot, and he is absolutely an amazing bird in so many ways. I love these birds because they have a great disposition, they're very loyal. I generally describe poicephalous as kind of like a lapdog. So overall, these are really great, fascinating African parrots with a really unique look. But the question is this the right parrot for you? So that's going to break down into our 6 categories: handleability, quietness, talking ability, care, hardiness, and upfront costs. So to start off, for handleability, I give Meyer's parrots an overall handleability of 3. And this breaks down for a few reasons. Starting with the good, like I said before, they are great lapdogs. They're very loyal, they love their owners. They can be somewhat cuddly as well, but these guys are a great parrot who just want to spend their time with you. They will spend all day just chilling out on your shoulder. As long as they're there with you, they are happy. That's what makes them really great for handleability. But the downfalls with Meyer's parrots is they can sometimes end up being one-person birds, more so than some other poicephalous parrots. Now, a one-person bird generally means it's a bird that only grows attached to the owner, and they can grow to not be as friendly towards other people in your family. Of course, that can be mitigated with a lot of exposure and training. So because of that personality, they can also tend to be a little on the nippy end. On top of that, Meyer's versus other poicephalous parrots, they are pretty territorial. They don't generally like other birds. Now, Yubi here, after some work, has gotten along with my flock while he's staying over, but they can be pretty defensive over their territory, so that's why I give handleability a 3 out of 5. Next up is quietness. Meyer's parrots are one of the most quietest parrots you can possibly buy. So for that, I give it a 4 out of 5. Most of the time you won't even hear your Meyer's parrot at all. He's a little kind of active right now just because of being in front of camera. So he has been a little bit noisy, unusually noisy, while we're filming this. When they do make sounds, as you've heard, they generally have kind of a high squeak sound, but it's not that loud. And for that, I actually recommend Meyer's parrots for apartments, as generally that sound isn't enough to penetrate through walls and annoy your neighbors. But now moving on to talking ability, I give talking ability a 2. Now the reason is, generally quiet birds are not talking birds. It's a big gamble if you're trying to get a Meyer's parrot that talks, and chances are if you get one that talks, it probably will also be more on the noisy end. So you really have to weigh your options here if you are looking for a quiet bird or a talking bird. But overall, if you're looking for a talking bird, this just is not the right bird for you. Next up is care. For care, I give the Meyer's parrot a 4 out of 5. Care for a Meyer's parrot is just like most parrots. Generally, you're going to want to put them on a pellet diet, and you want to supplement that diet with fruits and veggies and occasionally seeds for snacks. But especially African birds like poicephalous and Meyer's parrots especially, they can suffer from calcium deficiency. So as such, it is very, very important that if you have a Meyer's parrot, it has to be on a pellet diet, where pellet is the main majority of what they eat, as only a pellet diet will actually offer all the nutrients the parrot will need to have a long lifespan. And going off of long lifespan, a Meyer's parrot has about a 25 to 35 year lifespan. So it is a very long commitment, but is about average for medium-sized birds, around the 30-year mark. Another reason why they have a very high score is them being a low-energy bird. They do not require as much attention as some other more active birds. And I would say you only need to spend a minimum of about maybe half an hour to an hour a day with your bird to make sure it doesn't develop mental problems. But overall, it is a pretty low maintenance bird, which is why it has a 4 out of 5. Next up is Hardiness. For Hardiness, I give the Meyer's Parrot a score of 3 out of 5. The reason being is, for an African parrot, they are actually pretty durable birds. Meyer's parrots can handle pretty good heat coming from Africa, while also tolerating a decent amount of cold, about maybe 55, 57 degrees Fahrenheit. Though of course that's not recommended. But now the reason why the score is knocked back a bit is the size. This is a pretty good size for a beginner parrot. It is a large enough size that it can take some good handling, especially if you have kids around. It can handle rough handling a little bit, but in my opinion, this is still a little bit too small that I still wouldn't recommend kids to be around a bird like this because they can still accidentally crush it, squeeze it too hard. So for that, it's not exactly the most hardy bird if you have a young family. So for that reason mainly, that's why I give this a 3 out of 5. So the next up is upfront costs. For upfront costs, I also give the Meyer's Parrot a 3 out of 5. So you won't be finding birds like this in your general pet store. You gotta be going to more of a specialty store to find a Meyer's Parrot or your local breeder that specializes in Meyers. So as such, they tend to be up there in costs. You're gonna look to be spending around $1,000. So overall, it is not exactly the most cost-effective bird, but also isn't the worst. In the end, it's gonna cost you about as much as a dog. On top of the bird cost is also the cage costs. They are going to need about a medium to large size cage. So you're going to be looking to spend a few $100s on a bird cage. Once you start adding in all the bulls, the toys, branches, everything, you're probably going to be looking at spending about $1,500 to maybe even $1,800 on getting a Meyer's Parrot setup, including the parrot. Overall, it's not a good price. It is pretty expensive, but it's not a bad price compared to a lot of other parrots in the market. So overall, the score I give the Meyer's Parrot is a 3.2 out of 5. It's overall a great beginner parrot if you can afford the costs. With a bird like this, you will need to do your own research to find all the nitty-gritty details about this bird. If you're overall looking for a very loyal lapdog kind of a parrot, then this may be the right parrot for you. If you like this video, please consider subscribing and leave a comment below on what kind of birds you would like to see me review. There are a lot of niche species out there that a lot of people on the internet don't even know about. So I would definitely like to explore the world of parrots and help provide more information about these amazing animals. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.